This is a presentation on the new features within Alphacam 2015 R2. This presentation is to deal with part management. We have a new functionality that's been introduced to create an associativity between a part and its copies. So you've been able to obviously copy parts within Alphacam for a long time, but there's been no associativity. That means that if you updated something on the first part, then you had to delete all the copies and then recreate them, whereas now we're actually going to give you the chance to make them associative. So you can right click on an existing operation. You now have the option to create a part. Once you create the part and you add the operations to it that you require, you'll then have the option to copy the part, and you can obviously order it via part or by tool. You'd order it by tool if you want to minimize tool changes, and you'd order it by part, for example, if you wanted to get a part off the machine very quickly to get down to the assembly line. Once you've created the copy, it actually creates over the top of the original. You then need to translate it by moving it or rotating it into the position that you require. If you modify the part, the original part, you then obviously get the option to update the part copies. So let's have a look at this feature now within Alphacam 2015 R2. So here we can see our machine component on this 4-axis tombstone. So this is the component we're going to turn into a part and then create the copies of. So I start by creating the initial part. So I take the first operation, click on it and go create part. I now need to take the other operations and drag and drop them into the part so they all become part of the one collection. So once I have that, I can then right click on that and create a copy of the part, and I get the chance to order by part or by tool. I'm going to order this instance by part. So just wait for it to create the new operations, and they're exact copies of what has been done on the original, and they've been put over the top. Obviously it's no good to me over the top. I need to have it in positions around the tombstone. So I now need to move this part. So if I right click on it, I have the option to move or rotate. I'm just going to move it and I'm going to move it from 0, 0, 0 to 0, minus 250, 0. So we now have our two parts on the tombstone. So let's just put some around on this other side here. So we always go back to the original and I copy the part again. There's our new one, and this time I'm going to rotate the part. I'm going to rotate it around the global y-axis by an angle of minus 90. So our new part is there in position, and let's create the fourth one. So copy the original again. This time I'll need to move it from 0, 0, 0 to 0, minus 250, 0. That's over the top of the second part. So now let's rotate that into position once again around the global Y by minus 90. So we have four parts on here. If we look now and think, well, okay, I'm now going to change this, I can quite happy to do this finish pass on the side in one cut. So I can come to this operation and edit it. We say okay to that, and I'm going to go for a full depth of cut. Okay that, and okay that. So we can now see this is done in the one cut, but all the copies are still in there 3. So what we now do is right click on the original part and go update part copies. Once they're done, we obviously then have all the parts adjusted, and if we didn't want to update any of them before we update all the part copies, let's say we did want one of them though, maybe with 3 cuts, we can have the option to remove the part, and that puts it back to normal operations that wouldn't be affected by updating the original part.